All right, let's get right into it. We're not talking about finding a landmark from a vacation photo today. We're going way beyond the basics, into the world of professional, high-stakes geolocation. This is the playbook. This is how you make your work tight, secure, and completely defensible.
So, you think you've got this geolocation thing down pat. You can spot a license plate, check the angle of the sun, find the coordinates. Awesome. But what's the real difference between someone who's good at this and a true professional? Well, it's not just about finding the where, it's all about the how. We're talking about a rock-solid method, ironclad security, and an ethical compass that turns a cool finding into actual, verifiable intelligence.
So here's our game plan. First up, and this is the most important part, we're talking about your mindset. What needs to happen before you even think about opening a tool? Then we'll get into upgrading your toolkit. After that, we'll cover something absolutely critical, staying invisible with OPSEC. Then we'll lay down the law with the investigator's code, and finally, we'll look at why getting any of this wrong has huge, real-world consequences.
Okay, first things first. It is so easy to get distracted by the latest shiny new software, right? But the most powerful tool in your arsenal isn't something you can download. It's your own mind. It's having a structured, critical approach. Because without that, even the best tools in the world can send you chasing ghosts.
Let's really focus on that last word there, reproducibility. It's a huge deal. I mean, imagine your findings are used in a court case. You can't just walk in and say, "Trust me, I found it." No way. You have to be able to show your work step by step so that someone else could follow your path and get the exact same result. That's what turns a hunch into hard evidence.
You know, a huge part of having the right mindset is knowing how your own brain can trick you. And it will try, believe me. We're all wired with these mental shortcuts that can be a total disaster for an investigation. Confirmation bias? That's you subconsciously looking for clues that prove you're already right. Anchoring? That's when you fall in love with the very first clue you find and ignore everything that comes after. And the availability heuristic? That's just your brain thinking that the easiest info to find must be the most important. A real pro is always on guard for these mental traps.
And this quote right here, it just nails the central challenge, doesn't it? It's this constant push and pull. On one hand, you need a strict, reliable playbook, something like the Berkeley Protocol, right? Super rigorous. But on the other hand, no two cases are ever the same. You've got to be able to think on your feet and adapt. So it's this constant dance between sticking to the process and knowing when you need to improvise.
All right, so your head's in the game. Now let's talk about the gear. Look, we all love Google Maps and Street View. They're amazing, but sometimes they're just not going to cut it. When you hit that brick wall, you need a specialized tool to help you smash right through it.
So, I'm sure a lot of you have wrestled with Overpass Turbo before. It's a beast, right? Incredibly powerful for digging through the OpenStreetMap database. But that query language? Wow. Well, check this out. A tool called What is Where. It does the same thing, but instead of writing complex code, you're just using simple drop-down menus. This isn't about dumbing things down. It's about working smarter. You get to spend your brain power on analyzing the results, not on fighting with syntax.
Here's another one we've all run into. You've almost got the location pinned. You zoom in on Google Earth for that final 3D confirmation, and you get nothing. Just flat imagery or those weird, lumpy, auto-generated blocks. So frustrating. That's when a tool like F4Map is an absolute lifesaver. It actually uses OpenStreetMap data to render detailed 3D models of individual buildings. This can be the one thing that takes you from "I think it's here" to "I know it's here."
Okay, let's stop for a second, because this next part is not optional. It is completely 100% non-negotiable for any serious investigator. We're talking about OPSEC, operational security. This isn't some fancy add-on. It's your first, last, and most important line of defense. It's what keeps you and your work safe.
Think of this as your basic OPSEC drill. 3 simple rules. Rule 1, compartmentalize. That means your personal life and your investigative life are separated by a giant digital wall. Different devices, different accounts, they never, ever touch. Rule 2, anonymize. Your IP address is your home address online. You have to hide it. Use a VPN, use Tor, do whatever it takes. And Rule 3, counter fingerprinting. See, your web browser has a unique digital fingerprint that websites use to track you. This is all about using tools to smudge that fingerprint, to make yourself blend into the crowd.
Just let that sink in for a moment. Every single click. The platforms you're investigating, they are investigating you right back with their own automated defenses. You have to operate under the assumption that you are being watched at all times. And that's not paranoia, folks. That is professionalism.
So, you've got the right mindset, you got the best tools, and your security is locked down. Now we bring it all together with a professional code. This is where we move beyond just finding things and into the world of verification, meticulous documentation, and a clear ethical compass. This is what separates random information from actual intelligence.
Chain of custody. You've definitely heard this on crime shows, and it's the exact same idea here. It's the unbroken digital paper trail of your entire investigation. Every search you ran, every image you saved, every tool you used, all of it logged and documented. And why is this so critical? Because without it, all you have is a theory, an accusation. But with a solid chain of custody, you have a provable fact.
So let's boil this code down to 3 pillars. These are your golden rules. Number 1, always double-check. Never trust a single source. Confirm your final location with at least 2 independent mapping services. Number 2, document everything. I know I sound like a broken record, but it's that important. Your chain of custody is everything. And number 3, this is a big one, practice ethical constraint. Just because you can find something doesn't always mean you should share it. The public interest must always be the priority.
So, why all this fuss? This whole playbook, all these rules, why does it matter so much? Because this work doesn't happen in a bubble. It has real, tangible consequences that affect people's lives and even national security.
Let me be incredibly blunt. A mistake in this field isn't like a typo in an email. A sloppy investigation, a bad call on the intelligence, a breach in your own security, it can lead to absolutely catastrophic outcomes. And if you want a stark, chilling example, look no further. The intelligence related to the January 6th attack was not missing. In fact, there were mountains of it, all out in the open. The failure, as the Senate report concluded, was in the assessment. It was a failure to connect the dots and understand the true severity of the threat. And that's a powerful reminder that just collecting data is only step 1. The analysis, the methodology, the rigor, that's what turns it into actionable intelligence.
So, there it is. The mindset, the tools, the OPSEC, and the ethical code. That's the professional's playbook. The question now isn't about what tool to use next. The question is for you. How will you apply these principles? How are you going to make sure that your work is not just correct, but that it's verifiable, secure, and responsible enough to stand up to any scrutiny? Because the answer to that, well, that's what truly makes you a professional.